Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Warcry 2.0. This time we're taking a look at the Stormcast Eternal Sacrosanct Chamber. Before we get into this, let me quickly make a small advert for the Salty Sea on YouTube. He's a great dedicated YouTuber to Warcry, does a lot of cool content for Warcry, and he and I recently had a sit down together where we talked about our favorite configurations for tournaments. So we're basically making a tiny general's handbook there with setups and battle plans that you can use for your tournaments, because we think those are the most balanced and the coolest battle plans and setups you can use. Also giving recommendations for twists you can use with that as well. So definitely go check that out. I'm hopefully putting a eye icon on the top corner of your screen, and also I will have a link in the description. So without further ado, let's get into the video then. We do have a warband for this Sacrosanct Chamber here, and we did get some cool new stuff that we want to go over. First off, we got the Evocators on Dracolines, so both a Grand Stave variant and a Sword and Small Staff variant. The Grand Staff costs 260 points, is movement 10, toughness 5, 32 wounds, so as you would expect from Stormcast, very survivable, but interestingly also very fast. This is something we've not seen on much of the super tough cavalry. Most of that is movement 6 or 7 or something. Movement 10 is really fast. That's quite cool. You do have a range of 2 with these guys, 3 attacks, strength 5, 5 damage. So that puts you at 7.1 damage on average. Crazy amount of damage output out of this one. And just in general, I feel like this is very good cavalry. And equally for the Evocator with sword, he costs 10 points less, has the same 10 movement, toughness 5 and 32 wounds. He only has a range of 1, 4 attacks, strength 5 at 2, 4 damage, putting him at 6.7 damage on average. So he's just a tiny bit worse, so if you can afford it points wise, I would definitely advise going for the Grand Stave one. It also should be mentioned that these guys do not have the mounted keyword, so you're getting some actual movement 10 models, super survivable, super damage outputty. I'm surprised to say this, but I really like these models. Then we have the Gryph-hound. Well, I have a love-hate relationship with these guys at the moment, because at 150 points they are the cheapest unit in this roster. So Gryph-hounds are essentially your chaff for Sacrosanct Chamber, which is crazy. But they are also very good, of course. You do get 6 movement, toughness 4, 20 wounds, a range of 1, 4 attack, strength 4, 2, 4 damage. So a very good attack profile, a very good profile overall. It's hard to pass these guys up. However, today I'm not gonna put a list with only Gryph-hounds, I promise. So those are the 3 new unit choices we got. Then we got a bunch of new leaders, of course. We got a Lord Arcanum. He's 260 points, movement 4, toughness 5 and 40 wounds. So insanely hard to kill, but not super fast. Sorry, 32 wounds, not 40 wounds, I'm sorry. Anyway, still not super fast, very hard to kill. He gets a ranged magic attack, but it's better than the standard magic missile, because this one is strength 4. So you do have the range of 7, 2 attacks at strength 4 for 3/6 damage, which puts you at 4 damage on average, which really isn't a bad ranged attack. He is dealing 5.4 damage in melee as well, though, so I decided to put it in there just so the guys can see. So he does get a pretty decent melee attack as well. Then you get the Lord Arcanum on Dracoline. Well, very similarly to the other Dracolines, he's expensive, 320 points. You do get movement 10 out of this guy though. Also the 40 wounds. Again, he does not have the mounted keyword, so he can climb buildings. He has a range of 1, 4 attack, strength 4, 2, 5 damage for 6 damage on average. Really not bad. However, he does cost 320 points, which is a bunch of points to pay. And then we got a Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger. He's 20 points less expensive. The issue with this one is that the Griff Charger is counted as mounted, so that's definitely worse. He cannot climb buildings. Movement 10, toughness 5, 38 wounds. Yeah, losing 2 wounds doesn't matter much. His ranged attack is, his melee attack is also somewhat worse though, because he has a range of 2, 4 attack, strength 4, 2, 4 damage instead of 2, 5. So you're losing some damage output there. Both of these guys also have the ranged attack that the normal Lord Arcanum has though. Yeah, I don't like the Griff Charger as much there. Then we got the Lord Exorcist. He's 250 points. Movement 4, toughness 5, 32 wounds. Again, very survivable, as all of them are. He gets the same ranged attack that the Lord Arcanums get, so a range of 7, 2 attack, strength 4, 3, 6 damage. His melee isn't that great though, he only has 4 point. So he's the same damage in melee as in range basically, which makes it so that you don't really need him to go into melee because, yeah, you already have the same damage output from range. I'm sorry guys. Then we got the Lord Ordinator. And the Lord Ordinator is your melee monster in this one. You get him both with Grand Hammer and with Paired Hammers. He costs 5 points more with this Grand Hammer. Has a move of 4, toughness 5, 32 wounds for both weapon options. The Grand Hammer is a range of 2 though. Has 3 attacks, strength 5, 3, 5 damage for 7.1 damage on average. Whereas the Paired Hammers are a range of 1. But with 4 attacks, strength 5, 2, 5 damage, putting him at a slightly higher damage output overall. This guy is gonna eat people, but he's gonna have a hard time getting to them to eat them. So that's the one issue with the Lord Ordinator. He gets a great double ability that buffs his combat prowess even more. But again, he's gonna struggle getting to where he wants to be. That's the one issue I've got with him. Then we got the Knight Incanter, 245 points. Not a, well, yeah, same kind of price level as all of them are really. Movement 4, toughness 5, 30 wounds, so slightly less survivable, but 2 wounds honestly doesn't matter much. He gets the same 4 damage range attack and the same 4 damage melee attack that the Lord Exorcist has. So essentially the Knight Incanter is the same as the Lord Exorcist, only 5 points cheaper for his 2 wounds. And they get slightly different abilities as well. Yeah, so that's all of that. Let's have a look at the abilities and then we'll get to the list. So first off, as you can see for all of these, in terms of point value, what I want to really highlight here is that your Advocators on Dracolines, even though they're expensive, they deal so much damage that they are actually good point value there, so like decent point value, but that's very rare for heavily armored cavalry, so really nice there for the Advocators with staff and sword. Obviously super survivable, but that's true for all the models other than the Gryph-hound, who has other qualities. And then probably to point out that the Lord Ordinator, of course, he does have good damage output in melee, but all the other lords here, they are ranged. So from ranged units you never expect the highest amount of damage, so that's fine, I guess. So what new abilities did we get? Well, as for all the warbands from Stormcast, we are getting the triple for the Gryph-hound now, which allows them to bonus attack and then bonus disengage. It's a very good triple, and yeah, you'll like that on your Gryphound. The Dracolines also get a quad, which is charging, allowing them to charge with their Dracolines. It's the same charge ability that many warbands get on a triple, so I don't understand why it's on a quad. It's very expensive on a quad. I don't think it's gonna be worth it at all most of the time, because you could instead do a rampage and look at your Grand Staff Dracoline. If you rampage, you get a free move and then a free attack action that's gonna net you 7 damage on average, which is just more than even a quad 6 would give you, and you don't need to roll a quad 6 for that. You can rampage on any value, so yeah, don't really see the point of this one, to be honest. And then we got your leader abilities. The double everyone gets is horrible. It's not horrible, it's just very box standard. If you kill one enemy, you get to make a bonus move or bonus attack action. It's not horrible, but it's not gonna come into play that much. Would probably be best for the Lord Ordinator, to be honest. But yes, he's not gonna. But yeah. Again, with movement 4, even if you kill someone, you might get a bonus move action to get closer to the opponent, which isn't bad. But it's not gonna net you super much value. The Lord Ordinator also gets his own double, as I said, adding 1 to attacks and strength characteristic. So it's just a better version of Onslaught, and therefore very, very good. It puts him to crazy amounts of damage output, but yes, no buts there. It's great. Then we got a triple for the Lord's Arcanum and for the Knight Incanter. This is a very interesting one because it's called Shatter Spirit Flask. They get the same rule in Age of Sigmar, where they can deal mortal wounds to an enemy but take damage themselves. Very similarly here, they deal damage equal to the value of the ability to everyone around them within 3 inches, but that's including allies and themselves. So they will deal on a triple 6, they deal 6 damage to everyone around them, but they deal it to themselves as well. I don't think it's bad, because it's only on a triple. These abilities where you deal damage to everyone around you normally come on a quad. So having that on a triple is quite nice, and keep in mind what kind of warband you're playing. You're gonna be the one who's got more wounds than your opponent but less models. So on average, it's very likely that multiple weaker models are going to surround your more expensive models. So using this ability, say you have a triple 6, that would be crazy, but anyways, you could deal 6 damage to a lot of, say, rats around you, then all are either dead or close to death. And on the other hand, your Lord would be basically fine because he has 30 wounds anyway, so losing 6 of those isn't that big a deal. So quite cool, this ability. And then we got the quad version of it, which I talked about being the normal one that you see a lot, which is for the Lord Exorcist and the Sequitur with the Lantern, which is dealing value to the enemies without surrounding you within 3 inches, but only enemies, obviously. So it's more reliable that way, but it's a quad, so it's unreliable to get, and I don't think it's that much more valuable than the triple. So I don't know if I'd recommend bringing any of those leaders just to get that quad. Now, what kind of list would I bring? Well, I think I really didn't want to go Gryphound spam again, and what I love about this is I don't think you have to. I think you get some options. I did go for one Castigator because the Castigator's triple ability is insanely valuable. He gets to add the value of the ability to his damage for each hit and crit he does with one action. So he gets 3 attacks at strength 5 So well, it's a 2 and 3 chance to hit on strength 5, so you'd expect 2 of those to hit. Even on a triple 3, that's 6 damage you're getting on top of your normal damage. And the better your triple is, obviously, the better it's gonna be. So that's gonna be some very reliable, very powerful damage output out of the Castigator, and I like that. I think low model warbands like having a strong ranged option to murder someone from afar and to get rid of some of that chaff that's running away from you and so on. So Castigator, great choice there. Then I would actually get a Evocator with Grand Stave on Dracoline. 260 points is expensive, but not too expensive. Sorry guys, moving on. So yes, I was talking about the Evocator Grand Staff. He's just very good. He's a lot of damage. He's a horrible hunter for your opponents. They're gonna fear him. 10-inch movement and that kind of damage. You can basically move in, kill someone in one activation. And he's gonna be super good against skinks and so on. All those chaff spamming lists. You can really hunt that chaff. And then I would get 2 Gryph-hounds. I know Gryph-hounds are neither here nor there. They are just good, and they are very cheap. There's no other way in this warband to at least get to 5 fighters, and I really want 5 fighters at least. So 2 Gryph-hounds, there's no way around that. They are just good. And then I'd get the Knight Incanter. He has many things going for him. He's cheap. He gets a pretty decent ranged attack for 4 damage. He gets that triple ability to deal damage around him, which can be good against chaff options. And I just don't think he's bad in general. He's not much worse than any of the other leader options, and is the cheapest out of the bunch, so why not go for him? Yeah, that's really all I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one.